Hey everyone, all my artist friends. It's so nice to be with you today. I'm Kendra Hinsman, or Miss Kendra from Whimsy Murals. Also doing a special video today with Black Earth Children's Museum. So some of you have maybe been in my classes before and we've had so much fun. And if you haven't, that's okay too. We can all be together today and create some art. Usually we do classes at the museum every other month. And then we usually do some special ones for spring break, which would have been this week. But as you know, we're not able to be together right now. But I'm so excited that we can be together online and do some art together today. So I'm so glad you joined me. You can tell I'm not at the museum today. I'm at home. I'm up in my attic. And this is where my office is, and also my art studio where I like to create lots of different things up here at my house. So welcome to my house. I'm glad to see you. And today we're going to do our raining cats and dogs image, and I will put a little bit closer view for you to look at as well. We are going to create it together, and I will do the lines here on my page, and you can follow along at home. And usually, like I said, we do painting classes at home, or I'm sorry, at the museum, but today you can use whatever you might have on hand at your house. So the best thing to start with is just going to be a piece of paper and a pencil. Pencils are great, so if you need to erase anything, it's super easy. If you do want to paint though with acrylic paint or tempera or whatever you have, just have that canvas ready. And to do the line, we usually just mix up a really light color to use. That way, if you need to cover it up, it's easier to cover up than using a dark color of paint. So why don't you go ahead and grab what you need, and we will get started. So I'm going to use a big marker today just so you can see the line on my page here. So we're at a little bit of a distance, so I want to make sure everyone can see. And also at the end, we will show you some examples of different types of things you can use to fill in the image once we get the outline done. So you could do watercolor, crayon, colored pencil, marker, whatever you have at home, like I said. So it'll be really fun. So let's get started and do our image together. So this big page is what I'm going to use, and you at home will have your page in front of you. And so when you see me draw a line, this edge is going to be the same as the top of your page and the sides and the bottom. Mine's just going to be bigger, but you can follow along. And the bigger the image, the better. So a lot of you know when I talk in my classes, we like to fill up that canvas and make it really interesting. So we like to see a lot of color and the whole image in the frame, instead of having an itty bitty dog or an itty bitty cat, itty bitty umbrella, and a whole lot of blank page around it. So when we draw, we're going to draw big today, and I love to draw big. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do, just to help us with that spacing, is to put a little check mark or little tick mark so we can kind of see how big we want to make things. So the first thing I would like to do is start with that umbrella. So we can see at the in the painting here that the umbrella is really big, and it's going to cover our cat and our dog. So I'm going to put a little tick mark right up here. Hopefully you can see that at home. If not, that's okay. Just go ahead and put it really close to the top, and we're going to come down about, not half, probably about a third of the way down the page. So it probably is hard to see, so I'm going to make these just a little bit bigger for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a half circle. So what usually works well is to watch me do it, and then you can go ahead and follow along. And I'll pause just a second in between each line just to give you a chance. And if you ever need to pause the video to catch up, or if you made a mistake, that is totally fine. Mistakes are totally fine. I make them too. So go ahead and do whatever you need to do. If you need to rewind it a little to hear that direction again, that is the beauty of our online class today. So let's go ahead and we're going to make kind of like a U shape or maybe a C on its side, kind of a half circle. So we're going to start way over here on this edge, and we made this tick mark up here, and we're going to come way over to our other side of the paper. So we're going to go up, touch that tick mark we made, and come way down to the other side of the page. And you can see that's going to be the top of our umbrella. So the bottom of the umbrella is kind of fun. It's going to be kind of like the letter M, and they're going to be connected. So you can just make kind of this bumpy motion with your pencil, and we're going to go up and down, up, down, up, down, all the way over to the edge, just like that. And this mark that we made originally, that was kind of down here, that's where you want your umbrella, the tip of it, to go. So it's going to be about that big. So I'll give you a second to finish that part up. Make those bumpy shapes there. And the next part we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and come up at the top again. And we're going to make the lines coming down. And we're going to start here, and they're going to come down to the point of where your bumps were that you made in the middle of your M shape. So we're going to do that for each one. Go down like that. And if they don't line up just perfectly, that is okay. All right, so there you can see pretty easily we have the top of our umbrella. Not too bad, right? So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to move down toward the bottom, and we're going to start our dog, okay? So the one thing we need to remember when we're doing the dog is we do need to leave room for his friend the cat who's sitting on his head. So we're going to come down a little bit. So if this is about halfway on your page here, we're going to start just a little under halfway. And let's make that mark again. You can always erase those marks when we're through. They just kind of help us measure, okay? So this is going to be the top of the dog's head, okay? And he's pretty big dog. I'm not sure what kind of dog he is, but he's a big one. And he has, his head takes up quite a bit of room. And his head, to me, looks kind of like the shape of a pear. So let's go ahead and just draw a shape of a pear. We'll start at that little line that you made, and we're going to go down and around and make the shape of a big pear. Okay, so that is the basic shape of his head. We'll fix it up a little bit more as we go. We're just kind of getting things where we want them to start, okay? And the next thing we're going to do is make his ears. So his ears come obviously on either side. So they're just two long oval shapes, one on each side at the top of this pear shape. And they kind of connect, so it's not the whole oval, but they connect to this top of the pear. And I can see that mine are a little uneven. So if I had a pencil, I might go ahead and erase it, but I don't have one. So I'm just going to make this line a little bit thicker so that they match. And then later I could color in over that. Okay, so I'm giving you just a minute to finish that pear shape and those two long oval shapes on either side. And the next thing we'll do is draw his nose. Now if you look at the dog's nose, it's kind of reminds me of like a slice of pizza or a slice of pie, kind of a triangular shape. So we're going to come down here, right where it starts to get wide here at the bottom of his face, we're going to make this curved line like this. It's pretty big, so you can make it nice and wide. And then we're going to connect the bottom kind of like a triangle. So you can kind of see that pie shape there. And you're going to put your pencil right at the bottom of this triangle here, the tip. And we're going to do 2 curved lines. So one's going to curve out this way to the bottom, and one will curve out this way to the bottom. And that's kind of makes his chin, where his mouth's going to be. So you can see our puppy's face is starting to take shape here. So what I like to do now, if you could erase this bottom one, because it's just a little bit too wide, I'm going to do this instead and just make his bottom of his mouth and his chin just a little bit more narrow. And then you could erase these sides here. Also, if you want to, you can also make him have a little bit bigger cheeks if you'd like. Give him a little more personality. And my dog has a big spot over his eye. It reminds me of those spot books that we used to read when my little girls were tiny, and we would read Spot all the time. So when I draw a dog, I like to make a spot on his eye. So that's just one big circle like that. You could put it on either side, it doesn't matter. And then we'll just put a little circle inside for his eyes. And when I draw animals that are kind of fun, kind of cartoony, I like to put little eyebrows on them. So it's just 2 little curved lines like that. I just feel like it makes them look more friendly. You can also come down here and give him some little dots where his whiskers would be. Kind of look like freckles a little bit, however many you want. So now you can see our dog has, his head is pretty much done. Now we need to put his body on and his feet, and you can see in the painting that he's kind of laying flat and he's got his paws kind of in front, like he's kind of laying, has his head in between his paws. You've probably seen dogs do that. So we're going to do that next. So he has big paws. Like I said, he's a big dog, so if you've seen big dogs, they usually have really big feet too. So we are going to make an upside down U shape for those paws, and one on each side. So we're going to come down not too far underneath where his head is, because like I said, they're pretty close to his chin. So we're going to make an upside down U shape right here on one side and one on this side. So there's 2 curves there, 2 U shapes. And then you can make his toes. So they're just going to be little curve marks going at the bottom, kind of like we did our umbrella, but these are going to go the other way, like more like W's for his toes. So you can do that on each side. I think probably 4. You would see 4 of his toes if he was sitting that way. So now we've got his feet in there. And we're just going to draw a straight line, well, a little curve maybe, in between. And that's where his tummy would be, or his chest. And we're just going to connect now right under his ears down to his paws, and that's going to be his body. So you can make him as skinny or as chubby as you would like. I'm going to make it kind of medium. So I just started under his ear. I did just a little bit of a curved line here down to where his paw is. And I will do the same thing on the other side. And there he is. Now he's kind of hunched down. The only thing left that he needs is what? He needs a tail. So his tail, you don't see the whole thing because you're looking at him from the front, and his tail is way in the back. so you don't see all of it. So you just see this top part kind of peeking out. So you're going to start where his ear is here, and we're just going to draw a long, skinny triangle like that. And that will be his tail. And what I did was I made this line after I had that shape done. I made this line a little bit jaggedy so it looked furry. So his tail looked a little bit fuzzy. So that's his tail. So that is our dog. So if you need a minute to go ahead and finish any of those lines that we drew, go ahead and do that. You can pause now. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and move on to our kitty friend that's up above the dog. So the cat, his shape of his head is actually just like a football shape or an almond or something like that. So we're going to come up. So here's the top of the dog's head. We're going to come up a little bit. We're going to leave some room for his body and paws, but like the dog, he's kind of hunched down and his paws are close to his face as well. So we are going to come up to about here, given just a little room, and we're going to draw that almond shape now, or that football shape. So where we made that line will be the bottom of his face, and we're going to make a nice almond shape. Just like that. So there you can see how it kind of looks like a football, and that's going to be his face. Now his ears are super easy. If you can think what shape that might be, it's super easy. It's 2 more triangles, so we're going to put 1 on each side. I like big ears on my cats when I draw them, so I'm going to put 2 triangles, 1 on either side. And then you can put 2 more inside, because that'll show the inside of his ears as well. So we've just got the football or almond shape, and then 4 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. You can see it's already starting to look like a cat. We're going to work on his face now. We're going to put a nice big circle in the middle of his head, just like that. And that's going to be right where his nose and mouth are going to be. So inside that circle, we'll start with his nose, similar to how we did the dog's nose, but it's a little bit smaller, actually a lot smaller, and a little bit pointier, so it's a little bit more like a triangle. So we'll come up towards the top, and we'll make this nice triangle shape, or pizza shape. And then just like we did here, we're going to come down, but we're going to make that line a little bit straighter. It's going to come down a little bit farther, like that. And then we'll give him a smile. He's a happy cat. He's happy to be with his friend the dog, and he's happy that he's under that umbrella not getting all wet. Most cats don't like to get wet. So he's a happy cat under there, so I gave him a smile. And just like the dog, if you want, you can put little dots in there. And we'll draw some whiskers in a minute. So his eyes are super easy. They're just 2 dots, 1 on each side of that big circle. If you want to give them more personality, if you want to do bigger eyes, you can do that. Totally up to you. Like I said before, I like to give them little eyebrows, make them look even friendlier. So let's just do that. And when you make eyebrows, if you make them going angled up like this and a little curved, they'll look happy. If you have them angled down, then they'll look angry. So it depends how you want your animal to look. But I like to make mine look friendly most of the time. So we just did 2 little curved eyebrows on either side above each eye. So we've got the cat's face done now, and I think that was pretty easy, hopefully. We're going to do similar to how we did with the dog's paws. We're going to make the cat's paws now. And the cat's paws are right on the dog's head. So we're going to do those upside down U shapes just like we did before, just a little smaller. So we're going to do upside down U, upside down U. So right over his ears, over the dog's ears. And you can do the same thing that we did underneath for the toes and make those little W curve shapes. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've just got those bumps starting on the outside of your curve, going up and down over to the edge on both sides. And I know that might be a little bit hard to see. I'll try to put some close-ups in here so you can see a little bit closer as you're working. So we've got his paws in there. We're going to make his body right under his head. So we don't want to go way out here. We want to come in a little bit. We're going to do a similar curved line like we did here for the dog. We're going to do right here for the cat's body. So under each side, we're going to leave quite a bit of room on either side. And this will be his body on each side there. I'm actually going to make this ear a little bit taller and bring his toes down a little bit because I made them a little bit too small. So that's what's fun about art. You can always change things if you need to. So we want those paws to look like they're right on top of that dog. The next thing we need to do is make his tail. And I wanted to make his tail go on this side just to kind of balance out the dog's tail. That way we have something to look at over on this side, and that kind of balances the picture a little bit. So over here, we're going to make the cat's tail. It's a little bit different shape than the dog's tail, more like, I don't know, maybe like a hot dog shape or something like that. So we're going to start right in the middle of this line on this side where we drew the side of his body. And we're going to do a long, thin, kind of a hot dog shape coming. So it starts here, goes up and around, and ends right back at the bottom there. And I like to put, on mine on that one, I put just a little jagged line for maybe a different color, like a white tip on his tail or something. So that's pretty much it with the cat. I think we have everything. The only thing that we really need to add now is the umbrella, like the handle for it, because right now it's just floating above, right? So it needs to be anchored here. And I have the cat holding this umbrella, and this part is probably the hardest part of the whole drawing. And I saved it till last because I know now that you have all this practice and we've been drawing for all this time, you'll get it no problem. So with the umbrella handle, we don't see the whole thing because the cat is in front of it and the cat is holding it. So we're just going to draw pieces of the umbrella handle, not the whole thing. So let's start with the top part. We're going to start with one line coming down. So if you think about a real umbrella, the handle goes up inside the top part here. But we don't see that because it's being covered. So we're just going to start kind of in the middle, and we're going to have one line coming down like that. And if you want to angle it a little bit, you can do that as well. And actually I'm looking at this line and I can see that I made it a little too straight for it to work. So I'm actually going to move it over a little bit. And if you drew that first line, go ahead and erase it. Like I said, it's okay to make mistakes. So we're going to move it over just a little bit so that it fits better in his paw. So this one I'm getting rid of here. Sorry about that. So now here's our other one. We're going to put another line right next to it. So it starts under the umbrella, comes down, it stops at the top of the cat's head, and we're going to put another one and it stops there as well because we won't see that. The cat's head is in front of it. Now we're going to try to measure where it might be. So he's got it kind of tucked up under his chin, kind of behind his head, so you can't see it all. We're going to kind of pretend that we have x-ray vision, that we can see through this cat. And underneath, so if we come down and we pull this line down like that. So it's kind of like they would be lining up. Same thing with the other one, and it's going to start curving that way. I think on that painting I have it curving to the left. For this one I'm going to have it curving that way. Okay? So you can see the thickness of that handle now because we have the two lines. And then the curve, the umbrella's handle, curves up like a candy cane or an upside down candy cane. And then we're just going to show the little tip of it right up here on his paw. So it's kind of like he's hanging on to it. Okay? And this is obviously not real. It's a cartoon. So if it isn't perfect, it's okay. It's just for fun. Okay? So then later we can color this shape in, that candy cane shape. The handle of the umbrella will be a little bit different color. So that is actually it. We have the whole drawing done, and you've done a really good job. So the only thing we need to add now, if you would like, and some of the examples that I show you will show you different ways that you can do the rain coming down. If you want to, you can go ahead and draw your raindrops on your page. You can put as many or as few as you like. It's up to you. I try to put fewer under the umbrella because that's catching the rain. Most of the rain's going to be up here, but you might see a few in the background, so that is fine too. So now that you have the drawing done, you can go ahead and fill it in with whatever you like I said at the beginning of the video. If you have crayons or watercolor, whatever you like, you can go ahead and fill it in, and maybe you could even send it to a friend or a grandparent or a neighbor. Since we can't be together right now, might be a fun thing to do. You could make more than one even if you'd like. So I hope that you had a really fun time today. I sure did. I'm really glad we could be together and make some art. I hope that sometime soon we can see each other in person when we have classes at the Black Earth Children's Museum again. And I know it won't be too long, so watch for those. But maybe we'll do another online class as well. So we will keep you posted on that. So I hope that you keep making art, and I know that we're kind of stuck inside right now, but we can make the best of it, and you can use your time to make all kinds of fun things. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.